look at this. What, like, yo, but this one, it goes the other way. They're worth, remember when the guys on MTV Cribs and they would lick the bottom of the soles just to let you know? That's where this country is. A lot of people's 401k is their laminated sneakers that they're never gonna wear. All right, I'm not gonna be here. Some of this stuff I like. These are the Bruce Jenner ones when he was just starting to feel like Caitlyn. You can throw a javelin in these, you can do a high jump.
Bill Burr went to Soul Stage in Los Angeles on Complex's platform. His appearance, of course, did not disappoint.
Green and white, one of your favorites?
Yeah, I love green.
It's crazy, though, because the country had a moment. They were one of the best-selling shoes of 2023, your favorite shoe.
Oh, they brought it back?
Yeah, they brought it back
a couple of times, and they went with cheaper leather.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because some corporate had to give himself a bonus check at the end of the year. What if we made it worse, but made it look the same?
Yeah.
Then could our pools be bigger?
Not
Free
okay.
Luigi!
Can you see how uncomfortable the host Joe LaPuma is? This is brilliant comedy.
And then the Yeezys up here.
Oh, yeah. Dude, that looks like some old lady knitted it.
Kanye is probably fuming at this point, but he's right. However, before we get into capitalism ruining our lives...
Bill Burr is so Bill Burr, I used to really enjoy his work. I mean, on occasion, I still enjoy his work. He's a comedian, which means he's very hit or miss. His Red Rock special, for example, hilarious. I'm such a Bill Burr fan that I actually bought a ticket for me and my wife and two of our friends to go see Bill Burr at the Hard Rock Casino down here in Hollywood, Florida. And I have to say, it was one of the worst shows I ever saw in my life because he got up there and Bill Burr has become woked. He has become woked, I assume, because his wife is very much on the left. Over time, I think he became embarrassed that many people on the right thought he was very funny. And so he decided that he was going to start woking it up, that he is very happy that CEOs are walking around in fear for their lives. Okay, now, you do get some extra points for being a comedian in today's day and age, meaning that we'll tend to give you some more leeway to say edgy things, because you're trying to be funny. And it's not clear to me here that Bill Burr is attempting to be funny. This is just his actual political opinion. He's not saying anything funny or insightful here.
This blabbermouth went after him.
Bill Burr is and a piece of... Okay, well, what he is saying here is truly evil. He's truly evil. He's saying you should live in fear if you're the CEO of a company and that company does things that Bill Burr deems to be bad things.
Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Rick Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStromShow. Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you. And when the New York Times sat down with Burr to discuss his upcoming Broadway project, the article would read as follows. When I tell him, as in the writer to Burr, that right-wing media figure Ben Shapiro said he was going woke, Bill Burr would fire back, quote, all he knew is that if he put woke on what I said, he would make more money. I don't know who he is, but that guy is a yeah, he is. They didn't go in depth. They didn't have to because we already knew what Bill Burr practically was going to say. And the fact that it was so well put in the span of 2 sentences really speaks volumes to Ben Shapiro's business model. Via the Times, speaking of the play, one other thing. When Burr had this rant, it was so clear. The reactions said so much about who has incentive to take a certain stance. When Ben Shapiro, all right, the bigot, anti-LGBTQ plus, hater of Palestinian people, hater of anyone who is not agreeing with him and wants to make their lives a living hell because he, along with Steven Crowder, along with Michael Knowles, along with many others, could not cut it when it came to writing scripts and being actors and what have you in Hollywood. They pivoted to try and make themselves a star through this BS pipeline that has influenced so many people to not think for themselves and become leeches off of the MAGA sphere and drive us on the brink of extinction. That was a bar. So via the Times, speaking of the play, Glengarry Glen Ross, Burr sees it not unlike critics and academics originally did when it opened in the 80s as a critique of winner-takes-all, unfettered capitalism. This is his quote. What's funny is a lot of this play I've experienced through the rise of streaming services. When I got in the biz 30 years ago, a character actor could make a living. Over the last 20 years, it's become just the movie star, a couple others. One person at the top is eating the succulent thing, and the rest of us are eating the peels. Is that what has driven Bill Burr to take up these positions? Whatever it is, I hope to hear more of it. I don't want to ever hear this guy not stop about how billionaires are ruining our lives. And if it leads this complex audience, as not like complex as in, but the platform of complex, if it leads them to start questioning how what he's talking about makes sense and how the products that they used to have many years ago have really gone down the poo-poo train because of how capitalists cut corners to give us a lesser product, charge more, and they get to have, as he says, an infinity pool, or as I see it, another jet. Hang on. Another jet, another yacht like the DeVosses, etc. Now, here's where I go, sneakers cool. Here's where I go adjacent, and I'm going to make this really quick. I have a beef with Fanatics, all right? And I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to throw up a few pictures just so you all can see how awful they are as a company. Awful. They are terrible. The only thing Fanatics has going for it is that they open a sports book, and because Michael Rubin, to his credit, this is the one thing I'll give him credit for, he knows how to build relationships to the betterment of himself, but to the detriment of sports fans everywhere. You're seeing these on your screens. These are awful. Like, numbers aren't lining up. Maybe one jersey has numbers on one side and then it's flipped around on the other side. Like slanted logos. This is beyond nuts. And every single year I used to buy, God, my voice is going out. Every year I used to buy Cubs stuff, Blackhawks stuff, Bulls stuff, Sox stuff, Bears stuff. I went to Indiana stuff. I don't think college basketball has been. No, I don't think they're under the Fanatics umbrella yet. But my God, I mean, I don't think it's here. I had a throwback Jonathan Tays Winter Classic jersey. The fact that I am seeing hockey jerseys get ruined by Fanatics, incredible. But why are they doing this? Well, Medium's Casey Clyburn wrote, late-stage capitalism has made it so almost every corporation is making their products worse in pursuit of infinite growth. But something about the wild growth of Fanatics feels not only worse, but also unsustainable. God, I hope so. Fanatics has distinct whiff of businesses like WeWork. Oh, my God. WeWork. Oh, my God. Nikola Motors, FTX, businesses with charismatic owners who are able to convince VCs and lazy corporations to part with their money at an absurd rate, but who have little to no actual business plan and can't deliver on their lofty ambitions and promises. It will come as little shock that one of Fanatics' first moves under Rubin was to move its HQ to Silicon Valley. Oh, shocker here. And it has sold itself less as an e-commerce platform and more as a tech company capable of maximizing profits in the under-monetized online ecosystem. Fanatics is selling itself as the number one place to get sports merch and saying they can deliver faster than anybody. What they're actually selling is a dream for businesses who don't want to spend the time or money to run their own logistics, a job Fanatics does miserably. In spite of all the money it's raised, Fanatics has been hesitant to go public. Businesses like WeWork fell apart once people started digging in how they actually made money. Don't be surprised if/when Fanatics goes through the same thing. I honestly don't know if they will, but let me tell you something. Again, as a consumer, as someone who loves sports, as someone who spent a lot of money on jerseys, who spent a lot of money on shirts, on hats, accessories, etc., seeing what Fanatics has done reminds me of the ills of capitalism.
speak out. We don't care if we lose fans, because when history's said and done, we want it known that Dropkick Murphy stood with the people, we stood with the workers. Okay? And it's all a scam, guys, okay?
Dropkick Murphy singer and bassist Ken Casey paused the band's recent concert in Clearwater, Florida after he saw a MAGA fan in the audience. Now, just in case you somehow don't know how they feel about Donald Trump and everything he represents.
If you were part of a union of working class people who were allowed to build a better life in the middle class in America, you listen to us. Because if you're out there buying those hats that these swindlers are selling at that fair, I'm sorry kids, I know there's kids here, then you're part of the problem, and I'll tell you why. Because you're being duped by the greatest swindler in the history of the world. You're being duped by a bunch of grifters and billionaires who don't give a about you or your family. They care about their tax breaks and the money they can put in their pocket.
Casey went viral with this scorching takedown of MAGA last year, hitting at the crux of why it's so infuriating to see anyone who is not a millionaire or billionaire support the Republican Party and vote against their own economic interests.
If you consider yourself a patriot and you're spouting off that election denying, I will fight your ass outside if you want to. We're working class people. These people are the rich, the billionaires, and they don't give a
What more do we need to say? The billionaire ruling class could not care less about your well-being and future prospects, and now they feel so emboldened and galvanized by Trump that they're not even trying to hide their corruption and lack of care anymore, which brings us back to Dropkick Murphy's recent concert in Florida.
Would you, in the name of dialogue and discourse, and I appreciate you being here, would you agree to a friendly wager? He says sure. That's a good sport. Well, first of all, do you support American workers? Of course you do. Of course you do. Okay. But Dropkick Murphy's always sells proudly made in America merchandise only. If you lose the bet, we switch shirts, okay? If you win the bet, I give you $100 and the shirts, right? That's why I said you can't lose, right?
You can just tell Casey's so confident in this Trumpers MAGA merch being made from cheap overseas labor and materials to keep profit margins high stateside.
He just needs to check your tags on your shirt and your hat. Just need to see where they're made. No, the MAGA shirt. Let's see where that's made.
And the result?
Nicaragua! It's made in Nicaragua!
Official Trump merch or not, you can't ignore the irony of outsourcing your white nativist political movement's merch to a foreign nation, especially Latin American countries and their citizens who have been explicitly demonized and marginalized by said movement. At least this MAGA loser was a good sport and followed through with the wager in the end. Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStrom Show. Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you.
He's taking the shirt off. We're taking crime off the street. Show that's a good sport. You get one proudly made in America Dropkick Murphy shirt. You gotta make America great again. You got the Elon Musk true Nazi version on. Can you wanna, let's roll the dice. Let's see where it's made. Come on, man. Yeah, drum roll, please, man. It's got no tag, and you know what that means? It wasn't made in America, I can tell you that.
If you ever forget about the importance of effective marketing strategies and aesthetics when it comes to spreading your political ideology, just remember this whole display.
From the bottom of our hearts, we are the most anti-MAGA band on earth, okay? But all opinions are welcome because it's still America!
Well, maybe not for much longer, considering how the Trump admin is celebrating and actively propagandizing their disappearance of University of Columbia student and green card holding Palestinian activist Mahmoud Khalil, while threatening to ramp up arrests of other pro-Palestinian activists and protesters. But as long as we have bands like Dropkick Murphys staying true to their roots and standing up for the people, we won't be alone in the fight against fascism.
Long history of supporting organized labor, and eventually, anyway, thanks for having our back. We got yours. And,
How you doing, everybody? We're the Dropkick Murphys, sending our love, solidarity, and support out to all you teachers on the picket line. Thank you for all you...
This is what actual working class solidarity looks like, supporting striking teachers in their fight for better wages, health benefits, and most importantly, the respect their line of work deserves. They also joined UAW members on the picket line during their monumental strike last year, putting actions behind their words instead of the hollow promises from both Dems and Republicans about committing to fighting for the material interests of the working class.
I now recognize the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ranking Member Keating, also wonderful.
We have set the standard on the floor of the bill.
Standard, Mr. Chairman. What you just said, you introduced a duly elected representative from the United States of America. Please.
Well, representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Mr. Chairman, you are out of order. Mr. Chairman, have you no decency? I mean, I've come to know you a little bit, but this is not decent.
We will continue this.
A duly elected representative the right way.
This hearing is adjourned.
Trash behavior from trash people. That was Keith Self, if unaware.
So the other one is the Doge program.
Self is a Republican from Texas who won his district with 62% of the vote. Here is how his town hall went. Hey guys, quick break in the action. I have a new show coming out called The Rick Strom Show. It is going to be awesome. I'm interviewing musicians, athletes, producers, writers, journalists, authors, sports doctors. Go check it out at youtube.com/@TheRickStrom Show. Also be sure to throw me a follow on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky. It can all be found in the description box below. Thank you.
This is very closely again to what between 93 This plan normally plans to cut 400,000 jobs. Between 93 and 2000.
And the conclusion of his town hall? Fast forward to present day. At the hearing hosted by the Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Europe, Keith Self, a Republican from Texas, would recognize McBride, a Democrat from Delaware, to speak, and he would intentionally misgender her 2 times. McBride is the first openly trans member of Congress, wrote NBC News. Thus, Congressman Bill Keating stepped in, and he was the person you heard sticking up for McBride. He's a rep from Massachusetts. Via Politico, it was the latest episode involving McBride, who has repeatedly been on the receiving end of harsh rhetoric from Republican colleagues. She's been blocked from using women's restrooms in the House following a bill sponsored by South Carolina Representative and MAGA grifter Nancy Mace that would only allow biological women in women's restrooms. Johnson amended the House rules for women's bathrooms to be for biological women only. Quick pause there. When we say that they're just starting with trans people to then target all of us. This has been rhetoric that has turned out to be true and well-founded because from videos that we have seen, because now on the basis that someone is not feminine enough, I personally have seen videos of police going into women's restrooms and questioning them. That is not where we should be. I know that, a lot of people are still uncomfortable with the F word. We are living in a fascist state. And when they come for trans people, they're going to eventually come for you and me and everyone else. It does not end with trans people. It is simply the Pandora's box opening up to violate our civil rights over and over and over again. And this could almost be a clip. I saw today on Twitter how some are even questioning the femininity of Angel Reese. That is how far we have fallen as a society, being elevated and amplified by Elon's modern-day 4chan network. More. Representative Mary Miller, a Republican from Illinois, sharing an old photo of her on X on Tuesday and wrote that the lawmaker is a biological man and always will be. Deplorable stuff. But really, as we go through history, it is no surprise that from the Trump administration's symbology that they have put forth on different occasions, catering to neo-Nazis, having a man who happens to be the richest person in the world also throwing up, as Bill Burr would say, a double Sieg Heil, and none other than the presidential inauguration, seeing his posts about how he shows affection to the Nazis, and also throughout history, as I, started out this entire diatribe, that is how the Nazis came to power, was by targeting trans people. Mary Miller also invoked Hitler. Each generation has the responsibility to teach and train the next generation. If we win a few elections, we're still going to be losing unless we win the hearts and minds of our children. This is the battle. Hitler was right on one thing. He said, whoever has the youth has the future. Our children are being propagandized, Miller had said. You're really not doing yourself any favors by saying stuff like this and then saying that you are not the modern day Nazi party. It's just so tiresome, man. So I look at this and all I can think about is how years ago, the National Basketball Association pulled their NBA All-Star game in the state of North Carolina over a controversial bathroom bill. And the role that sports has played is really impactful because what Republicans saw was the electorate not understanding the issue enough, taking their words at face value, and implementing legislation that is protecting women and protecting women's sports when they don't care about either one. They are elevating and hosting the Harrison Butkers who want women to be homemakers, yet somehow they want to save women's sports? No, that is not the drum that we beat to. It's insane. And it's insane that people actually fall for this stuff. But here we are. If you can and are willing, please become a paid member here at TYT Sports. And or go to tyt.com/join. In addition, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate it. Have a great day.